A lot of people have been telling me lately that their chickens look like they're molting even though it's summertime, or that they're just flat out losing feathers and they don't know why. I've actually encountered this with a few of the birds in my flock, and this is the first summer that I've run into this issue. So today we're going to go over a few different things that could cause this, and then I'll tell you my experience with it. I filmed some clips as this was happening with mine before I came to my conclusion, so I'll toss that in there as well so you can see how I was going through it in real time. I'll share my conclusion, I'll share what I did to fix it, and then I'll show you a few other tips. That way you can weigh your different options and see what you need to do for your birds if you're experiencing this. And you can see it has since been fixed because they all look beautiful and fluffy again. And I will also be sharing some different garden treats that you can give to your chickens. And then after this video, I encourage you to go to my channel and check out my summer heat care tips and my fly control video, because that will also help in relation to keeping your birds comfortable in the summer, especially if you are experiencing feather loss with them. Can't let this stud go to waste. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about some safe garden treats you can give to your chickens. And like I was saying earlier, feather loss. So some of the main reasons for feather loss could be mites, bullying, like if they were picking on each other, molting, heat stress, which could actually lead to early summer molting, and believe it or not, going broody. So for a lot of this summer, multiple hens of mine all went broody around the same time, and it was super annoying. Sometimes when birds go broody, they will pluck their own feathers off of themselves, usually around, let's see, who can I use as a model? Usually around right below here, around their stomach, kind of close to like in between their stomach and their vent, because that's where their body's going to be making contact with the eggs. So they try to pull those feathers away so that they can have bare skin touching the eggs and keeping them nice and warm. So I did have some hens lose feathers over that, and then scone right here, this little culprit. I noticed that some of the hens, because when they're broody, they're dedicated. They will just sit in there all day. And when she would want to go in there and lay eggs, she would sometimes, you know, pluck a couple feathers off of the hens that were broody. And they didn't want to abandon the eggs, so they just sat there and let her do it. So she was part of the problem. Luckily, it didn't get to the point where she was injuring anyone, and it really didn't go too far. It would just be a couple here and there, and she has since stopped now that they're not all sitting in there anymore. But I will show you a product that helps with that if it does become a problem, or if they are actually injuring each other over that. And if you're completely new to this, I will touch on what mites are real quick, and then later on in the video, I will show you some treatment methods for that. Now let's get into the video, and I will share this little feather loss experience with you guys in real time as I went through it. So here that is. I just picked this up at the store. This is supposed to help aid in gut health, and the gut is actually responsible for a lot of your health and immunity. So I figured it wouldn't hurt to give the whole flock something like this, just to keep everyone safe. So I'm just going to mix it right into their feed. And then I've also been mixing herbs into their water and Nutri-Drench. The Nutri-Drench is a very strong vitamin supplement. You can give it to them if they're sick, or even just as needed as a preventative. So if you've watched my other videos, you know that chickens love to eat sunflower seeds. And if you've seen my other videos, you know I plant lots of different sunflowers. Well, when the sunflowers come to the end of their life, don't remove them right away. If you let them dry out, you can harvest the seeds, or you can feed the head right to your chickens, and it'll give them some enrichment too while they work to get the seeds out of here. You could also put them in a brown paper bag and dry them out even more, and then just really gently brush these away to reveal the seeds, and then you can have seeds to save and replant for next time. If you've seen my latest video, then you know they've been having a little bit of a rough time. My other salmon Favrel, who was best friends with this one, passed away unexpectedly. Now, she was technically old, so I think it was just her time. But she didn't really show any signs. She hadn't really slowed down. She was doing great, so it was a bit of a shock. But it's really sad because Juniper and Peach was the one that passed, did literally everything together. So I think some extra treats might help cheer her up. You can see they're finishing off some of the lettuce I brought them earlier. And not only was it sad to lose a flock member, but it's also been very hot lately, very dry. A lot of the hens were broody, and then that culprit right there, Scone, I caught her. She's the culprit that's been plucking some of their feathers out when they sit in the nest boxes. Fennel, do you mind? I have to close this. You're gonna slide. And on top of that, this extreme heat has caused some of them to start molting earlier. I did check to make sure it was not mites. It's definitely not. I did confirm that. I treated them all for that anyway, just to be safe. But since the heat and the feather plucking culprit and the early molting has been causing some stress in all of them, I've been giving them more protein in their diet, and I've been adding Nutri-Drench to their water, which is a really nice vitamin supplement. And I've just been trying to keep them cool. I have a whole video on how to do that, so check that out. And I've been giving them nice healthy fruits, vegetables, enrichment activities. So hopefully that'll help. It's definitely been a rough summer for everyone. You can see their water's dark from the Nutri-Drench, and then I've been putting herbs in it as well. But let's see how they like these. What is it, Mimosa? Look. Once they learn what it is, I think they're really going to get excited about it. Oh look, I think Fennel found a bug. Oh, I think Kiwi took it from her. I'm just mixing up some more scratch treats for the chickens. Although, quick little tip, on really, really hot days, I don't give them anything with corn in it because corn helps them create heat in their bodies. So it's a great thing to feed in the wintertime, especially the whole kernel pieces. But on hot days, just be mindful of that. So I'm probably going to leave this out of the mix for now. And then something new that I'm going to be mixing into their feed and into their scratch, just as a little supplement to try, is millet. Millet, a lot of people think of it as just a cheap filler in bird seed, but it's actually really rich in omega-3s. It's packed with protein. It has about 12%, and it can even improve their gut health. So this is just a supplement. It's a treat. It's not a complete diet at all, so be mindful of that. I sometimes encounter some people, and they think that they can give scratch grains to their chickens as a feed, and you cannot. They need a layer feed. Anything else is just a treat. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this up, and then I'm going to clean out their coop. In the near future here, I'm actually planning on making a video about treats that you can get your chickens from the wild bird section of the store, so make sure you subscribe and stay tuned if you want to see more on that. Consider this your little sneak peek. So here's a quick little story. I was just up here checking on the tomatoes. I was going to pick some for some customers. And we got tons of eggplant right now. You can see more deer have been here. And even though it's late in the season, I replanted the pumpkins, and so far so good, so I'm really hoping that they make it. But anyways, back to the story. So I was up here looking at my tomatoes and I hear my mom screaming my name, so I went running all the way back down to the house, to the pool area. And apparently this little baby rabbit had fallen into the pool and my mom was having trouble getting it, so I quickly got it out. Here's a quick look at that. I watched it for a while. It looks like it's going to be okay. It's been around here for a while. It just recently left the nest with its siblings. And a lot of people say, oh, don't touch it or the mom will never come back. I don't encourage people to ever touch wildlife, but obviously I wasn't going to leave it in the pool. And it's kind of a myth because I've seen more often than not when I've helped baby animals before that have gotten trapped in situations, their parents have come back. So they have a better chance staying with their mother than they would if a human would try to intervene. So always try to reunite them with their parents. Now, if it's a true case where the animal becomes abandoned, then make sure you get it to a vet or someone that has experience with wildlife or a rehabilitation center. Especially rabbits, they're really, really hard to keep alive. But I think it'll be okay. It just seemed a little bit shocked from being in the pool. But it's really hot out, so luckily it won't get cold. And one thing that was really impressive is, well, you know my dog Eva, she's a whippet. They were literally bred to hunt rabbits. And she had one of the babies in her mouth one time, and we told her to drop it, and she instantly dropped it. It was not harmed at all. And I was so impressed because, like, yeah, I trained my dog. You should always train your dog. But sometimes it's hard to go up against their instinct, but she still listened, so I was so proud of her. And there was actually a case maybe about 2 years ago now. I'm giving these bad-looking ones to the chickens. But anyways, she actually rescued a baby rabbit out of the pool. There was one that had fallen in, she saw it, she jumped in after it, and my dad noticed that she was just swimming around holding this little baby rabbit. So he called her out of the pool and she walked over and handed it right to him, and he released it back into the yard and it was fine. So there's a little story for today. And if you're wondering why we have some split tomatoes, well, we actually got some rain the other night, so I'm very grateful for that. It's hailing.
Yeah. Was like nasty.
Here's a piece of hail.
Oh, cool. Well, that is big enough to damage the car.
It's raining again.
The next time anybody...
It's been close to 2 weeks since the beginning of this video, so I want to go update you on some of the stuff with the chickens and inform you on how I've been improving their feather situation. And also, look, I didn't even realize these were up there because I've been struggling with my cucumber plants so much this year. But we have some cucumbers to pick. Fun fact, these are a really good treat for your chickens, especially on hot days, because cucumbers, besides being filled with vitamins and minerals and obviously water for hydration, also contain electrolytes. It's also a good thing for you. You can slice them up and make cucumber water. What we do is we get a pitcher that has the part in the middle that holds the cucumbers. So I slice those up, put that along with some lemon for some extra flavor in the middle, and I'll show you that, and then we'll get to the chickens. So as I said before, a little bit of time has passed from the intro of this video. Juniper, she's still kind of off on her own sometimes, which is really sad to see, but she's been doing a little bit better each day. She's been a little bit more social with the others, so that's always good to see. And her beard is starting to grow back, which is great. Puka's feathers are growing back in too. So yeah, I think I mentioned this earlier. I did check and treat them all for mites when I noticed the feather loss, just in case. They didn't have any, but it's always good to do that just as a preventative. So, like I said before, the extreme heat can trigger early molting from the stress and all the weird extreme weather. It can confuse their bodies. And I had a lot of customers coming in and telling me that they also were experiencing their chickens molting. I had never had this happen before. But then again, we've never had a summer, since I've had chickens at least, that it's been this hot and dry for so long. So you learn something new every year when you are dealing with animals. So this was what I learned that was new. They can apparently molt during the summer if there's extreme heat. So I do have a chicken video all about how to take care of them in extreme heat. Make sure you check that out. I've just been following those tips. I upped the protein so that they can grow their feathers back, giving them black oil sunflower seeds, flax seeds to help with the feather growth. And that definitely seems to be helping. I've noticed a big difference. Giving them lots of hydrating treats like tomatoes and cucumbers to help them get through this heat. Oh, and fun fact, this is called a green zebra tomato. It's a type of heirloom tomato that stays green. And a lot of people that are growing these for the first time get confused because they aren't sure how to tell when it's ripe since they stay green. But you can see when they're ripe, they get a little bit of a yellowish hue and they get softer to the touch. But since we actually got rain for once, really heavy rain the other night, they all split before I could get to them because the plants took up water too fast. But it's a bonus for the chickens, they'll enjoy it. But yeah, they've all been doing a lot better. They've started laying more eggs again too, which is great. One of the Easter eggers even laid a double yolker the other day. The egg was huge. It was just a goofy looking oval. I'll show you that real quick. It was really funny looking.
A double yolk.
Sometimes that just happens. Another thing that you can do if you're experiencing feather loss or molting issues is you can get the NatureWise Neutrina Feather Fixer feed. It's an 18% protein, whereas most layer feeds are traditionally a 16% protein. So it helps them to regrow their feathers faster and easier because it actually takes a lot of proteins out of the bird to regrow feathers. And here's a good example on Bluebell. Look out, Snapdragon. You see those, it looks like little pieces of plastic or like hard feathers coming through on her? Those are called pin feathers, and that's where the feathers start. And you can see that means they're starting to grow back on her little bald patch right there. And then what I also feed is called NatureWise Hardy Hen, which is also an 18% protein. I actually have a video all about that with details about the feed, so make sure you go onto my channel and check that out. Along with the sunflower seeds or sunflower heads. You can also give them dried mealworms or dried black soldier fly larvae, which are actually higher in calcium. These are high protein snacks that can definitely help your birds when they're regrowing their feathers. And like I was mentioning earlier, in case it's not a case of molting and you have mites, here are some different options that can help treat that. I always mix the diatomaceous earth into their dust baths as a preventative method so that way they don't get mites, and thank God it has been working because I've never had an issue yet. But if you're concerned, you can also get one of these options to spray onto your birds. You can do it as a preventative or as a treatment, and you can even spray inside the coop and around the coop with these as well. And if you're ever not sure about something or you're trying these treatments and they're not getting better, don't be afraid to contact your local veterinarian so that you can get the birds the proper help that they need. You can see we've been using a lot from their lettuce hanging basket. This is butter crunch lettuce, so when you pull it off, as long as you leave the root intact, it'll continue to grow back. I had this hanging in a shaded area of their run so that way it wouldn't bolt, because lettuce does not like the heat. But yeah, you can definitely see everyone's looking better. This has just been one of the most brutal summers I can remember in recent times. Look how shiny Shotzi is. Meringue's looking beautiful too. She's my black copper Moran. Another garden treat that your chickens can enjoy are beets. They can eat the greens and the beet itself. They can also enjoy cantaloupe, and I don't have any quite ready yet, but you can see soon we will. And chickens also really love watermelon. It's nice, cool, refreshing, and hydrating. And very healthy, rich in potassium, vitamins, minerals. They also enjoy peppers. And I always make sure to remove the leaves and the stem of the peppers, and definitely with eggplant and tomatoes, because their leaves are toxic. And if I can get these pumpkins to hold on and work, they'll enjoy lots of pumpkins this fall, and the pumpkin seeds, but we'll see how those go. It's been a very, very rough, challenging year. And they can also eat marigolds. If you're completely new to chickens, since I talk about broody hens in this video, I guess I'll take a quick second to teach you what that means. Here's an example. This is my homegirl cornflower. A broody hen is basically a chicken that wants to be a mother. She is in the mood to sit on some eggs, try to incubate and hatch them, and raise some chicks. I don't have a rooster here, but they don't understand that. They still have that natural mothering instinct. Some breeds are more prone to going broody than others. Orpingtons are prone to it, and Silkies are extremely prone to it. If you follow my videos, you know that Mimosa over there has adopted quite a few babies that weren't hers back when I would get baby chicks in the spring. Look out, Fennel. So you can see she's making some little broody dinosaur sounds. Some hens become quite aggressive when they're broody, and please try to be patient with them and just understand it's their instinct. They're just trying to protect their eggs so that the chicks can survive. But luckily Cornflower has never been aggressive a day in her life. She just makes little fussy sounds. You can see she plucks the feathers here so that her skin can make contact with the eggs and keep them warm. That's another sign that your hen's going broody. She's being very tolerant, thank you, Cornflower. And you can see she's trying to hatch some eggs. So that is basically a broody hen. Eventually they will snap out of it. You just gotta kind of let it run its course. You found this video helpful. Now you know some different garden treats that you can give your hens and some different ways to manage some summertime molting if you happen to notice that. Back in the winter, because usually my hens molt around November, I made a video about how to manage molting, so check that one out too, because there's even more tips on there. And you can see how shiny and fluffy and luxurious everyone else is looking right now. So problem solved. Now I'm going to show you some random pretty scenes of some of the bouquets I made with the flowers that survived the hailstorm. And then I will see you in the next video.